Welcome to the Virtual Realms YouTube channel. I'm R1, and this is the HELLDIVER. I'm not sure where to start with this airplane. I have only flown it in arcade battles so far. I'm skilling it up and trying to get all the modules on it, and I'm not quite there yet, but while I have had some success with it in arcade battles, I'm keenly aware of the fact that it is only because I'm in an arcade battle. This is kind of an awkward bird. I shouldn't really say it like that. The HELLDIVER, when used properly in a dive bombing attack, can deliver its ordnance with fairly high precision. But at most, it can only carry one 1,000-pound bomb or two 500-pound bombs, which really isn't a big bomb load. It does carry an internal bomb bay, which helps its speed a little bit, but well, there are a lot of fighters that can carry that or more, a lot more. They just can't generally deliver them precisely like the HELLDIVER can. Well, we weren't the only ones that had issues with it. I don't think we were ever really truly happy with it. The British received a handful of them for testing, and they had an order for a few hundred of them, and they refused them all. Said its handling was appalling, and they just weren't going to have that. And various other countries tried them out. I think Greece used them for a while. The French actually, later on, toward the end of its service life, actually used them fairly effectively in some of their combats. And I think they, instead of using them in the typical dive bomber role, were using them for low altitude attack work, and it actually worked out fairly well for them. But, you know, although toward the end, some groups actually developed a fondness for the HELLDIVER for the most part, and throughout most of its active service life, it was considered a pretty dismal aircraft by the pilots that flew it and by the carrier skippers that had them landing and taking off from their fragile flight decks. They were extremely unstable at the lower speeds necessary for a carrier landing, which didn't help at all. So anyway, we have a very problematic aircraft here. And while it does have a couple of strong points, it has a lot of weak points as well. But while I have only had modest luck with it in arcade battles, I do have a replay that shows that it can actually be effective in realistic battles in the hands of a good pilot. This would be LittleRoamer. And he has discovered a strength of the HELLDIVER that, well, frankly, is fairly easy to overlook. I'll show you what I mean. As LittleRoamer closes with the enemy formation, he finds himself well out in front of the rest of his team, and the first thing that he does as he closes to combat range, well, he ditches his bombs. Gets rid of them entirely. This improves the handling of the plane immensely. And he sets himself up to use that hidden strength that the HELLDIVER has. This particular variant is armed with twin 20mm cannon. It's a significant improvement over most of the HELLDIVER models that only had either 2 or 4 50 caliber machine guns at best. They pack a punch, and he's able to shred the Japanese fighter that was inbound on him with very little difficulty. Now, I'll admit, if I were flying this into combat, I'd be trying to avoid enemy fighters, not targeting them specifically and hunting them down. Here he finds himself head-to-head and takes down a second one with very little problem, and puts significant damage into a third, setting him on fire. He's not down just yet, but he's burning up rapidly. Well, will the Japanese airplane go out? Nope. His fire does not go out, and he burns up within seconds. That's 3 Japanese fighters down in less than, what was it, 30 seconds? That's pretty impressive. 2 20mm cannons can be very effective if you have a steady hand and a steady firing platform to use them from. And without its bombs, this later version of the Helldiver, it can get its guns on target. It's not what I would call a great fighter, but nobody expects this plane to do well in combat, let alone in a dogfight. The element of surprise, at least at this point, can work in your favor. Now he's got a problem. He's got a Ki-44I behind him. He has managed to roll and duck underneath the anticipated trajectory that the Ki-44 was approaching on and evade the incoming fire. He's going to roll it around, and he's going to keep his speed, well, I can't really say he's keeping his speed up high, but he's keeping it adequate to stay in the air. If he goes much slower, though, he's going to fall out of the sky like a brick. It just doesn't handle well once you get too slow, but he manages. And putting the nose down, he's picked up significant speed again, and he's able to regain control and assist that P-38 that came over to draw that enemy fighter off his tail. I'm not sure if he could have gotten out of that situation without the P-38 pilot's assistance. I believe that is a pilot named Midnight, and we'll see him one more time before the end of the battle. However, down below, he's noticed that one of his other teammates is in trouble. Another Helldiver is being pursued by another Ki-44. He's put some good shots into him, will damage his elevator, and significantly damage the fighter. He's not able to take him out before the fighter pulls out of range. The Helldiver cannot catch him. And while the Ki-44 pilot, Multiverse 26, is maneuvering wildly, his control is not very good. He's taken significant damage. He's still pulling range, which is good for him. And the P-38 is going to swing in on his tail as well. Credit to LittleRoamer here. He doesn't give up. He continues to pursue, hoping that the Ki-44 will be forced to peel off and that he'll get another chance to take him the rest of the way out of the battle. But as it turns out, all that extreme maneuvering on the Ki-44 part is inconsequential because he's taken significant enough damage that he simply cannot maintain proper control of his aircraft. He's struggling to keep it in the air at all. It's only through true grit and determination that he's able to maneuver at all, and eventually goes out of control and ends up in the drink, giving LittleRoamer 4 kills in this realistic battle. I'd like to say that, oh, sure, I could do that. I'm not sure I could have done that. Credit to you, LittleRoamer. That was extremely well done. This isn't a long replay, and it's not going to be a long-winded presentation on my part, but at least at this point in War Thunder, nobody expects the Helldiver to have any teeth at all. And for at least a while, you may be able to use that to your advantage and surprise enemy pilots that are inbound on you. They're going to view you as easy meat. And while you have your bombs on board, you would be. Now, I'm not saying drop them at the beginning of the match. No, if you get an opportunity to do ground strike, do ground strike. But at the first sight of an enemy fighter, ditch them, lure him in, and then blow him out of the sky. You got a fair chance at being able to do that. Now, here's Midnight again, our pretty heads-up P-38 pilot. He's just blown the engine out of that Ki-44, and he and Falcon Punch are going to systematically hunt Void Error, the Japanese pilot, down. Again, the Japanese team, actually, they're decent pilots and they're spirited, and this is Void Error. He does a good job of evading for a while, but he's badly damaged as it is, and eventually our American pilots are going to hunt him down and kill him. And I believe Falcon Punch actually gets credit for the kill, but Midnight here is the one that did the bulk of the damage to that pilot. But the Japanese team, once they ran into LittleRoamer, after those 30 seconds had passed, they really didn't stand a chance. He took the heart out of the enemy team with the most unlikely airplane imaginable. Well, outside of perhaps a Po-2. The mighty Po-2. Well, that's all I've got for you today. It was just a little short replay. that was turned into me by LittleRoamer. It was the first replay he turned in, and it struck me as funny and interesting all at the same time, and I wanted to take just a few minutes and share that with you. LittleRoamer, thanks for turning that in. I appreciate it. That was kind of an unexpected result in this replay, and I appreciate you taking the time to do so. That's all I have for you guys. You have a good one, and until I see you again, good hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.